Let's talk about Filipino food because, as you guys know, I literally made a video on this because I love Filipino food so much. And after spending 8 months in the Philippines, there was just so many foods that I ate that I loved so much. So I am doing this video where I'm gonna be sharing Filipino foods that you should actually try when you're already in the Philippines. And if you haven't seen the first video, because this is basically like part two of that video, I listed I think like 8 dishes, and now I'm gonna do more. On this list, we're gonna start with kare kare. Kare kare is like a peanut sauce stew. Most of the Filipino food comes in different varieties. There's like pork kare kare, lechon kare kare. There is beef kare kare. Apparently, the original kare kare is actually oxtail kare kare. Personally, I did not get to eat that, but apparently that's the original one. I had lechon kawali kare kare, and I also had like a vegan version of kare kare. And that lechon kawali kare kare, guys, I am telling you, it was just one of the best. Personally, I was so surprised. I actually loved it because when it comes to like peanut sauce, peanut dishes, peanuts, anything, it's like I get very overwhelmed very quick. So I was really like, okay, this is a whole meal I have to eat with this rice as well. I don't know how this is gonna be, but I was so surprised. I loved it so much, especially the lechon kawali one. The other one, the vegan version, was really good as well. But compared the two, I love the lechon kawali. It was just so good. The crispiness of lechon kawali. So kare kare is definitely a dish you want to try. And honestly, I hope that you do like any other version that you get to find. I feel like everywhere you go in the Philippines, there's always different versions of the same dish. So yeah, that's all I can say on kare kare. The next Filipino dish you're gonna want to try when you're in the Philippines, of course, it's gonna have to be sisig. And sisig, just like many other dishes, I keep saying this because this is very much like what I found very interesting about Filipino food. It's just made very different in different places. And I personally had chicken sisig and I also had pork sisig. It was so good. I had the one from Mang Inasal as well, which was so good. Like I remember having that day with rice, and because someone recommended it, I was like, okay, let me go and try, and I actually did love it. So definitely try that. So the next one is gonna have to be sizzling dish, and this is where I also am like, when it comes to sizzling, it has to be very specific. I personally got to have the pork sizzling and also the squid sizzling and the tofu sizzling. Out of the three, I loved the squid sizzling. The way it was cooked, the way it was just so good. And also the pork sizzling that I got to have was just not my favorite. I felt like the pork sizzling was more like pork skin, and you know how pork skin can have a lot of oil. For me, it just felt like it was so much oil that I was just like, nah, I don't like this. Same as the tofu sizzling. The tofu sizzling, maybe it might be on me as well, because when it came out, it was very much like sizzling and everything, but when I started eating it, it was already cold. So by that time, I don't think it still had that taste as well. So I feel like, okay, maybe it was my fault as much as, but so I would also want to give it a chance again to try the tofu sizzling and see how it goes, because I personally love tofu. Tofu, I know it's not for everyone, but I personally love tofu. Next dish you're gonna want to try is actually gonna have to be pork humba. This one was such a surprise for me because usually I don't really like stew dishes, especially when it comes to meat, or like I'd rather have like the fried, I'd rather have the grilled one. But when it comes to stew, I'm really hesitant when it comes to that. But when I was in Mobile Cebu, I wanted to try something new, and humba was on the list of Filipino food. I was like, okay, let me try some local food that I've never actually thought of trying. And humba was literally there. I loved it so much. I found humba to be the same as adobo. Humba is actually very, very tender because it's slow cooked, and mostly it's used, like, especially the one I had was the pork humba, and it's used with the fat, like the pork fat. So if you love that, you will love this one because it's slow cooked, and you can imagine slow cooked meal, how tender it was and how tasty that was. I loved it so much. I enjoyed that meal actually. So that's definitely something you should definitely give a try. And of course, let's go to adobo, because adobo is literally the Filipino classic. You can never go wrong with adobo. Every version of adobo that I got to have was so good, and I felt so special when my friend Jerusa actually made adobo at home and we were able to eat that. That was my first time having like that home meal. So I definitely loved adobo, and it has such a special place. When we had the adobo that we had, it was actually the one with the chicken intestine, chicken gizzard, and also chicken feet, and that was so good. Like Jerusa knew what she was doing, and honestly, she understood the assignment. It was just so good. We had such a good time eating that. I'm still drooling over that. Honestly, I'm still drooling over that adobo, Jerusa. Thank you so much. I will forever be thankful for you for making that. Another dish that I personally actually discovered in the Philippines was stuffed squid. And honestly, when it comes to that, I was like, okay, this is very interesting. And I don't know if it's like originally from the Philippines, but because I had it in the Philippines, I would literally just consider it a Filipino dish, but also mainly because it was being served a lot at a lot of different places around the Philippines. When there's like a barbecue as well, they would always have like a stuffed squid. So I definitely would recommend that. Literally, it was one of those dishes where it's like, okay, it looks really simple, it looks interesting, and if you love seafood like I do, then you will definitely love the squid, the stuffed squid. And I hope that you give it a try. Next set of food that I actually would love to recommend to everyone who goes to the Philippines, it's carinderia food. And honestly, I can't really tell you like a specific dish that you can go to the carinderia and order, because one thing about carinderia food is like they cook different meals every single day, and maybe they might cook something similar from yesterday, like one dish similar from yesterday or like that, but you will always find different dishes at carinderia. And the whole promise of carinderia is literally just like cheap, affordable, and home cooked meal. And honestly, it gives all of that and then more. I felt like being at the carinderia for me made me feel like at home all the time. Like every time I miss home and I just want to feel like I'm eating a home cooked meal, I'm eating at home, I would literally go to a carinderia and I would literally eat there. Because most of the time, first of all, if you're from these places of the world where they use hands eating, carinderia is literally that place where you just want to use your hands, you are at home, you feel comfortable, so it just makes it so easy for you to use your hands and eat. And of course, there's so many other dishes that you can order from carinderia. As I said, it's very affordable, so you can order like different dishes. And sometimes I used to order like 5 plates of different things, and sometimes I would literally just be like, wow. And of course, most of the time it's like small portions, so most of the time you can actually finish them. But I would just recommend for you to order as much as you can finish, because as much as it's affordable, it's also obviously like good, and you're also supporting local businesses, because most of the people that are usually cooking are like, Tita on the road and Lola on the road. So you just pass by and you eat. And honestly, this is like a very big culture in the Philippines. I saw this a lot. I would just recommend carinderia if you're someone who is always open to new food and you just want to try something new and something local. Carinderia is definitely somewhere you want to go and you want to try that. I feel like I've given you a list of foods, and honestly, as I keep saying, Filipino has a lot of foods that you can actually try when you go there. And I feel like this is just the surface of how many foods you can actually try when you're in the Philippines, because there's so many. And I am gonna give you guys a list of also like, desserts that you can try or snacks that you can try when you're in the Philippines, because as much as I fall in love with the food, I also fall in love with the snacks. So I am gonna give you guys the list of snacks that you can try while you're in the Philippines, but also like the list of desserts that you can actually try when you're in the Philippines. So tune in for the next videos, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.